let's start pumping that copium because I have a heap load of it to talk about today. The Chaotix Casefile, as previously stated by many, is one of the most well-produced things they've done with Sonic in a while, and I'm all for more of these. Please, please, Sega, give us a Tangle and Whisper audio drama. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But one thing that I've been thinking about recently, and one thing that's been hyping up the mix of Hopium and Copium, is the possibility that this could either be tied in or lead into the next mainline game. Now, hold on. Let the copium cook. This podcast does something that I find to be very fascinating, and that's take the complete focus of the podcast off of Sonic and put it on other characters within the universe. And yes, I know this hasn't been anything new. Shadow got a major focus recently, and Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog also focused on the other characters aside from Sonic, so it's nothing new at all. But what is new is just being able to actually hear these characters talk, like normal characters, like characters that exist, like characters that are alive. Each episode of the Chaotix Casefiles has been an absolute blast, a really fun journey focusing heavily around 3 members of a detective agency that are just trying their best, and running into other Sonic characters along the way. But why? Why is there so much of a focus on these characters? Why are they bringing characters like Professor Tori and Abraham Tower into the mix? Why are they showcasing that Gun is very much still around and very much still active? Why build up to a big reveal to bring in one of the most infamous villains in the Sonic franchise back? Clearly, they wouldn't just be building these characters up for no reason, other than to maybe potentially bring them into the next mainline game? I mean, I don't think it's a ridiculous theory to think about. As far as we know, this podcast started conceptualizing sometime in 2023. While the development of the next mainline game could be taking a completely different direction narratively, I don't think it'd be too much out of the realm of possibility to have something somehow tie into this next mainline game, especially if they really do decide to keep Infinite around. Which at this point, I don't see why not. I mean, I'm gonna say it. If you can accept that Zavok and the rest of the Deadly Six are back, then I don't see the issue with welcoming Infinite back in with open arms. I'm just saying, if it were between the two, Infinite is the much better pick to have back. I'm glad that we have both, but I'm just being honest, But in all seriousness though, Infinite has great potential, and I'm glad they're finally bringing that potential back. I think he's really well written too, and the astroscopic lenses being an alternative to the Phantom Ruby power makes it so much more interesting. Yes, still a little confusing to some, but I'm certain within the next episode they might be able to explain things a bit better. I think there might be a little bit of a twist to delve into as well. That twist being the unidentified benefactor that Infinite was talking about. Who could this mysterious person be? Who could have given Infinite the first lens in the set? Well, perhaps there's still a double agent at play. Thinking back to the story so far within the podcast, doesn't it seem interesting that they had all those run-ins with Gun? Doesn't it seem interesting that Gun was interested in these astroscopic lenses? Perhaps the benefactor Infinite is talking about is Professor Tori. She seems to know a great deal about these lenses, more than anyone, and she's working with Gun, so she's already playing a double agent towards the Chaotix. Who could say that she's not capable of double-crossing the organization that she's working for? Or maybe, just maybe, Gun as a whole is working with Infinite, giving him full power in exchange for being able to utilize the lens's powers and keep people from getting in their way. Just a few theories to ponder on as we're waiting for the finale, assuming that episode 7 is only split into 2 parts. I think it'd be a really interesting thing to leave this podcast off on a cliffhanger, leading into a much bigger narrative. I know it's Copium wrapped up in a nice little box and presented to people with a fancy tie bow, but it would just be so huge to have not only a story that ties into multiple pieces of media throughout the Sonic franchise, and even if it were just to be this podcast leading into the game and nothing else, I still think that alone would be one of the coolest things that they've done in a while. The idea of Infinite being this all-out massive threat to the entire world and showcasing it by leaving it off as a cliffhanger would be such a huge statement for bringing back a character like him. This plan that he has to cover the world in a never-ending nightmare sounds like a great setup for some kind of story where every character goes through their own struggles, defying all odds to team up and take down Infinite. That would be just the type of comeback a character like this would need and kind of deserves. I just really want to see more of this going forward. please let this kind of writing blend into the games, and please, please, please let the next mainline game allow for moments like this. It's just such an awesome thing to finally listen to these characters talk and interact with one another, and I think having something like this just showcases how much more potential that they have with all of these characters, if they can put them all within the next mainline game. Obviously, not all of them can be playable, but just as NPCs and being tied into the story through cutscenes, it's something that needs to be done. But that's enough Copium for now. What are your thoughts on the case file so far? Are you enjoying Infinite's return? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you like this video, I encourage you to leave a like and share it around to keep the conversation going. And if you'd really like to support me, I would appreciate it if you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.